Hey guys, Tanya with Back to Basics. Every once in a while, I like to highlight some of those small business people that I work with, either in collaboration, in partnership, or as clients. And one of my favorites that I work with in all of those concepts and aspects is Kim Tsoukalas with NIA Twin Cities Network in Action. Excuse me. Kim is a franchise owner of a number of groups here in the Twin Cities area, market area. But getting to this point was a little bit of a journey for her. And so we're here to talk to Kim about that journey today. Kim, you want to give yourself a quick little introduction?
Well, hi, Tanya. You're one of my favorite people too. My name is Kim Tsoukalas, as Tanya said, and I'm a franchise owner of Network and Action Twin Cities. And we are a really unique networking. We decided, after doing some research that people are really, really, really understanding the importance of networking. And it's not just about referrals, which is, although that is our primary reason why we network, but it's also about collaboration, about not being alone as a business owner and some masterminding and connecting and just having a community to turn to. Because sometimes, as business owners, it can be very lonely on the top and no one
Yeah.
to talk to. So we offer a once a month mandatory meeting, which really attracts the business owner and professional that understands that it's important to network, but they understand time is money and they value their time. Ran by a full-time owner, which is me, that is dedicated to my memberships and all my members to make sure that they are doing well in my groups by coaching and consulting and taking care of all the behind the scenes thing so people can focus on their businesses. And we are the only networking association that offers a return on investment
Yeah.
guarantee membership.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's about you in the business now. I want to
Yeah.
talk to you a little bit about how you got there.
Yeah.
So you weren't always a franchise owner or in any scope or in imagination. What did you do prior in your previous life?
Well, prior to purchasing my franchise, I spent 24 years in the recruiting industry. And I was mostly, the majority of my career, I was mostly in sales roles, but sometimes in management roles. And my job and my career for all those years was connection. So
Yeah.
this was really a fun, natural industry. I had to learn how to sell. I had to learn how to market. I had to learn how to connect and network. So when I saw Network in Action, I thought, gee, this might be something I can actually do and do pretty well. And so that's why I decided to buy the franchise.
And anybody that knows Kim knows that this is kind of second nature for her. She's a very, very vibrant individual. So what made you think about when you were looking at business opportunities and you wanted to transition from the career you were in to a new path? What made you think about franchising? Why did you go there versus outright owning or starting your own business?
That's really, really a good question, Tanya. I admire people that have that skill set to start from nothing. And even though I was a startup and I started with no clients, I didn't start with nothing. I had a proven formula that was proven to have worked with 50 other franchises prior to me. I think a lot of it, Tanya, is really, there's definitely pros and cons to franchising as well. I mean, it's not always pros, but it's about knowing yourself and understanding your strengths. And I know that trying to figure all that stuff out and what to charge and how to do this and how do you do meetings and just all the website and all the marketing decisions and dealing with all that kind of stuff. I really made me feel good that I could just purchase franchise and do what I do well and focus on my strengths and let them figure out all the other things. And so for me, it was the right decision.
That's cool. That's really cool. So if somebody else was considering looking at a franchise, not necessarily networking franchise, but any type of franchise, what is like one of the top key, I guess, tips that you could give them as to um, why they might consider it and what things to look out for when they're researching those types of opportunities?
For me, hands down, it was having a franchise broker that truly, truly, truly cared about me. Like truly wasn't just trying to sell me a franchise. When it was kind of, I met him by mistake. and he is a man with utmost integrity. He'd been a banker in a past life, not past life, but past career.
Yeah.
So he understood a lot more about just selling a franchise. He understood the financing about it. He understood, he had a lot of businesses himself. But what was so neat about him is he sat down with me. How much money do you want to make? How much money do you have? How many hours do you want to work? Do you want employees? What industries interest you? He really did a thorough evaluation on me and presented me 4 franchises, and I'd never heard of NIA. And it was really, really cool because I was working with a gentleman prior to him that was sending me things that were just, I'm like, seriously, does this guy, and this is somebody I had a personal relationship with, not by no means were we like best friends or anything, but if you knew me for 15 minutes, you wouldn't send me the franchises he was sending me. So this guy, I remember too, he said, I know you could do this really, 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 really well, but I'm afraid by everything you're telling me that you would get, this isn't the franchise I bought, but when I was considering, he goes, I'm afraid you'd get extremely burnt out. And whatever you decide, you better be passionate about it. Otherwise, you're going to get really burnt out and be unhappy. And that really stuck with me. And literally, he sent me 4 franchises, and they were all really good fits. And I think a lot of it's just knowing who you are and knowing yourself and understanding your strengths. And not everybody understands that at first. We spend a lot of time focusing on our weaknesses versus focusing on our strengths. I hire Tanya, because marketing is my strength. I hire people to do my books. I hire people to help me with my IT, but I can't hire people to do what I do. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of why I decided this specific franchise was the right fit.
So my takeaway from that is, if somebody is looking at that as a possible opportunity, have trusted resources in your corner to help walk you through that process.
Totally. I mean, for me, it was it was life-changing because I was pretty scared. And I remember he just knew and understood me. He's so gifted, but he literally did like a sales, like numbers, like plan, like this is what you do this within 5 years. This is because he was a banker too. And he was really able to, and I thought, wow. I remember him showing me the 5-year plan. And he said, if you do this in 5 years, even after your expenses, this is roughly what you'd make. And I remember thinking, wow, if I made 25% of that and loved what I did, I'd be so happy. And he was basing that on 3 groups, and I'm ready to launch my 6th. So I have, amazing. It was a conservative number too. He wasn't trying to give me some massive number.
Pie in the sky. Yeah.
Right. Which was good too, because it was a number I felt was obtainable.
That's good. Achievable goals. Right? Yeah. It's always great to have that pie in the sky, but we need to set achievable goals so we don't feel let down if we can't reach the pie in the sky. So that's awesome. With that said, I want to talk about when you came into this though, because with that said, you came into this franchise, you signed the papers, you signed the dotted line, you put that deposit in, and then COVID came. And that kind of,
my anniversary date was November, but I had not gotten the financing through and all that stuff. So I literally did not start till March. And when did COVID close our country down? It was March. Yeah. I literally went to conference, had all these dreams of what I was going to do, came back, fired up, 1 week into it, shut our country down. So it was a very challenging time.
So you took a model that was already in place with this franchise. You went into this model because of all those things that you just talked about. The structure was there, and it gave you the comfortability to build this business because you didn't have to build it from the ground up. But now you're in a situation where everything is frozen and you had to make some tough decisions. How do I, that I've already invested in, shift, or do I sit still? And what happens with this franchise? And you shifted. Tell us a little bit about what you did differently that other franchise owners were doing.
In hindsight, when I look back, when you're in the recruiting industry for 24 years, you see September 11th, you see the crash in 2008.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of used to having to go through rough times. And what happened for me in hindsight, it's probably was really taught me to work even harder and smarter and pivot. And I had a member the other day talking about how she hadn't closed business for a while and she wasn't making her goal. That's what she said. And she goes, in 14 years, I've always made my goal. They've always raised my goal. I've always made my goal. And I said, you're better at what you do, right? Yep. And your company's better at what they do too, right? Yep. And I said, so what are you doing differently? She goes, nothing. And I said, well, that's exactly the problem. The market's shifting. You need to shift with the market. You need to pivot. What I did is I offered a unique blend of meeting live in a place where we could meet live because restaurants were allowing us and it was outside so people could space. I also offered a unique blend of meeting live and also putting people on Zoom that weren't comfortable meeting in live because I had to keep my business open.
Yeah.
And I offered, this was the best thing that I did, is I offered free memberships until we were able to meet live. And I said, you need me, I need you. No hard feelings if you don't want to open the doors, but everyone's uncertain right now and we need each other more than ever. Yeah. So why don't I just have you become a member for free? When the world opens up, you can evaluate whether this is going to work for you or not. And a year later, I went to conference and I received the Top Gun Award, which is one of the most prestigious awards, bypassed the Rookie of the Year that I really wanted. I overachieved. I went over that goal. And so I was really proud because a lot of people curled up in fetal position and said, no one wants to meet. And they did not believe they could help them. And they felt defeated. And I just took the bull by the horns and made it happen.
Yeah. So you did that in your industry. I was watching you go through that whole thing, and I was watching all sorts of other small business owners go through the same thing. When tragedy comes or obstacles come our way or challenges crop up we're not ready for, that's a dividing path, right? There's a fork in the road at that point, and you have the choice to kind of sit back and wait it out, or just like you said, go in the fetal position. For a lot of people, they just froze, or forge ahead and do something different and keep moving and keep moving. And that's exactly what you did. And it was so fun to watch you go through that transformation. And it wasn't always easy to watch because it's not like it was an easy path to take. You were going against that grain and working in technology that you weren't even comfortable in, but you did it. And it was amazing to just watch everything kind of burst open that following year with your groups. So you said you had how many groups now?
I'm launching my 6th in a couple months.
That's awesome. So how many members altogether do you think?
But I want to say one thing. I think people have a lot of reasons why they shouldn't do things instead of figuring out why they should.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people saying, well, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this because, and you know what? I could say that all day long too. I could give you 20 reasons I shouldn't do things. But if you really use your mindset and say, well, yeah, that's a valid thing, but let's figure out what I can do. It's just a mind shift. So I just highly recommend people think about that instead of, yeah, it's okay to look at why you shouldn't, but you also need to really write down and figure out why you should. I would guess I'm at about 115 members. I would guess. I don't know. I think we have 3 or 4 coming in again. I haven't counted for a while. But yeah, our 6th group launches in October. And I went a year without launching any groups. And then I decided to launch a 6th one. And I thought, what the heck am I doing this for? But it's actually working really well. And it's interesting when you get a few things set up and get you get the right people behind you to help you set up for success, that sometimes if I have the right members in the seat, the groups kind of run themselves too, because we have effective, influential people, which is really, really important. And the bigger I get, the more I attract influential people.
I think you hit a key point there. And we've kind of said it in a multitude of ways throughout this conversation, but it's having that right support. It's not just having people that are talented at what they're doing, but people that are talented and see your vision and support your vision. It's so hard when there's people that you're close to that are your biggest naysayers and whispering in your ear that little bit of doubt. You need that support. Of course, we want people to be honest, though, if they see you walking towards a train wreck. But I think you just had some amazing people wrapped around you the last couple years, and we see that in how you interact with each of those members. If I remember correctly, you are one of the youngest franchise owners. I don't mean you personally, your age, but I mean your franchise is one of the younger ones. There might be a couple younger ones beneath you, but you're the largest one in the US
Yeah.
right now, right?
Well, last I heard, because they're growing too, but last I heard we had 130 franchise owners and I was probably 55. But COVID, we probably
Yeah,
only had 20 franchises that year because people were just they were kind of pausing.
nervous. Yeah.
It's understandable. I would have paused if I wouldn't have bought it before. I would have paused too. But yeah, and now we've had some explosive growth. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle. Yeah.
So let's talk about your franchise for just a second, because as a small business owner, we hear about networking groups all the time. It took me a long time to join any type of networking group. I just didn't understand the value of them. And then when I tested a few out, if some of them felt like very coffee shop, let's like a breakfast club. Some of them felt very militia in style. Like here's my name, rank, and serial number. NIA is structured very differently. Can you explain to people listening right now what the top three differential factors are from an NIA networking group to traditional business networking groups we see out there?
Okay. It's hard to narrow it down to three, but I will narrow it down to three.
Okay.
And you know what, Tanya, you might have a different three.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, if we talk about, and one of the topics we had in our agendas was what's your unique selling proposition, right? So you need to have something that differentiates you from your competition. So I would say, and you can tell me if you want to add to this or change it, but as a member, you might have a different perspective. But I would say owner ran, because running and leading a networking group, number one, it's like a part-time job for people that are already working sometimes 50, 60 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
So time is money, right? It is.
Mm-hmm.
Established business owners value their time. They get that. The other thing is, so you have an owner running it, so you can focus on your business. You're not having to focus on my business. My business, my members are my clients. It's a little different vibe. You go to another group, it's ran by a volunteer. Doesn't mean that they're not an amazing, wonderful volunteer and a great business person. But when they're done with that meeting, what are they going to do? Are they going to go out and they're going to focus on you, or are they going to focus on their business? Well,
Yeah.
they should focus on their business. So I would say owner ran, someone like me, working to serve my members, working full time, so you can focus on making money on your business, not focusing on mine. I would say that would be one. I would say the once a month mandatory meeting, where many of these groups have multiple meetings. They're very transactional. They're ran
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a board meeting. Our once a month mandatory meeting, again, attracts a busy professional, values their time. They're more established. And so they have more flexibility on spending more time doing one-to-ones, spending more time coming to the social events that I have, or my trainings and my coaching. And then just to piggyback on that once a month mandatory meeting, it's never the same. You know
Right.
that as well as I do. So you're never going to come in. I had one of my members say, yeah, it's like when people come to the meeting, it's like they're coming in from recess. They're all excited. Well, I hope people aren't like, here we go. You know what? You're coming in, you're learning about bank code. You're learning about objections. You're learning about unique selling proposition. You're learning about people's lives or experiences that they've had that have changed their life forever. We talk a lot about different topics. We're going to talk about the power impact of a really deep dive one-to-one, and how intentionality can make a difference, because networking can be a time suck if you're not doing it right and you're not doing it with the right people. So I would say third, I'm kind of torn if I should say ROI. I think that is a differentiator. But I would also say, not an NIA member group is the same. Not every BNI group is the same, not because the leadership and the quality of members, and there's a lot of things you need to look at, and how good are you? And are you a good networker? Even if you're good at what you do, are you a good networker? So, I just feel like with my national awards and my experience with coaching and consulting, that I offer a advantage, and I have an incentive to make sure that you're successful, because I don't want to give your second year free. So the coaching and consulting that I provide, which I could charge a lot more money than I do, because I invested to make sure you succeed.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tanya? There's more,
I
but
agree. There's so much more, but those are really, really great differentiators that I value as a member in your group. And I have to tell you that I use a system called Honeybooks. Some people watching might be familiar with it. Some people may use other CRMs. But whatever CRM you're using, I'm going to tell you, have some type of way of tracking your referral and your business and your input and output so you understand the true value of the business that you're doing. In my Honeybook CRM, it will tell me where that referral business is coming from, because about 95% of my business is referral. Every once in a while, I'll get leads from the internet. And out of that 95%, over 87% when I looked at last week came from an NIA referral. So that's huge.
That didn't happen overnight either, did it?
No, it did not. No, it takes time. And every industry is different. So that's the other great thing about your groups, right? There's some that people just naturally understand what a realtor does, but they might not understand brand management. It takes time to build up that referral base. But yeah, you get some partners.
So happy because first of all, you came to me when I was like a little baby franchise owner trying to figure this out. I didn't have a lot of members. You believed me in the beginning. And I remember your first year, it was kind of a struggle. It was not just a struggle because you were new. It was a struggle because I was new, but it was also a struggle because the world, we can meet this, we can't meet this way. And I remember us having several conversations. It was a slow start. And that's one thing I want people to remember is that number one, depending on what you do, and how good you are at being clear about what you do, which is something I've been taking on to do more coaching on. It might take you longer, but if you are not vested in a community that really want to truly have relationships that last a lifetime, it really does pay back. And it doesn't pay to just sit and go casually network and just meet a bunch of people and not have any intentionality behind it.
Yeah.
I want to mention something too.
What?
I cannot just have anybody be my members. So they're handpicked. Mm-hmm. And yes, my groups are not free and they're not the cheapest, but there are people vested. And I always say to people, if you don't take your business seriously and invest in your business with the right things, why should anyone take you seriously?
Right.
And why should anyone hire you if you're not investing in your business? And I feel like many of my members become better business owners because they're hanging around successful people. There is a value to that. There's a value of being able to have partnerships and have someone to talk to about challenges you're having. Yeah. There's a massive value for that.
So. There is. And I've been in all sorts of different networking groups over the last probably 7 years now. And there's the cocktail hour groups that you go, the happy hour groups that you go that are free, and the breakfast groups that are free. And there's some even very intentional business groups that are low cost. And there is a different mindset when something comes free. It's like, well, if I don't show up, it's no sweat off my back. I don't lose anything out of it.
People are vested.
Right. So there is that. And that ROI kind of helps offset that fear of, gosh, that's a ticket price. But one really good transactional partnership out of that experience pays for that twofold. So
well, Tanya, I want to say something. I want to mention this to the viewers. You have consistently, and I can't keep up with the numbers every month, but definitely would be, I would guess, the top 5, and 10 would be a stretch, but
yeah, maybe 10. I mean, your groups have gotten bigger.
If you have 115 members, that's still very high in my community. So your success, first of all, you're amazing at what you do. And I work with Tanya and I get 10 times more than what I give her. So highly recommend. There's a shameless plug for Tanya. But what I'm saying is, but a lot of it is because you give and you always have a serving mindset. And a lot of people don't really understand. And when people are like, well, I'm not getting referrals, I'm like, I'm not going to look at what you're getting. I want to look at what you're giving first.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to absolutely share that. And when we talk about invested and investing in your business, I use the example a lot. If you were to hire a personal trainer and you're paying $100, $200 a session, or you had a fitness membership that's 24 hours a day open and it's $30, which one are you going to really not blow off?
Right. Exactly.
So there is a mindset. And I had one member say, I like that because you do weed out the junior, not as established, influential members.
Yeah.
I want influential members, people that are respected, that people want to really listen to, that they respect and care about, and people that people want to refer. Are you being someone proud to be referred?
So Kim, where do you see your franchise, NIA Twin Cities, Network in Action Twin Cities? Where do you see that going over the next 1 to 5 years? What vision do you have for them right now?
So good. I have to be honest, Tanya, this has surpassed all my expectations. And I've kind of been just doing one at a time and then saying, okay, do I want another one? So it's kind of probably like having kids. I think I want 5, but let's do one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, I can handle one. Now should we add 2? Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Because my groups are my babies, Tanya.
I know.
What I would love to see if I had the right leadership, the one thing I've learned about myself is, could I make $1 million and sit back and have everybody do the work and just go on vacation and live a nice, cushy life? I could do that. But
I think you could, but you're too involved.
But when you understand what fuels you, that wouldn't fuel me. If I didn't have a small impact on my members' success and be a part of it, if I didn't have the rewards of that, and like you sharing what you just shared with me, like that is what inspires me the most. So I personally would not be happy with that. So I have developed a mentorship program so I can continue. My sister's hilarious. She goes, if you buy tickets to go see Beyonce, you don't want to look at the warm-up band. You want to see Beyonce.
Right.
Like, when people sign up to be in your groups, they want to see you. And I just laughed. I thought, let's compare me to Beyonce. It was funny. But I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I need to be in a bigger impact and I need to focus on recruiting, because bringing value to my members is by bringing new people into the group. And I need to focus on what I started doing is little coffee clicks, coffee connections, where we pick a topic. We have any who wants to join. And we talked about, you've done all these one-to-ones. What's the next step? We collaborate. We talk about trust. What are the things we need to do to develop trust? The 2 reasons people don't refer is trust. And sometimes they just don't know how. Maybe they don't understand your business, Tanya. Well, you can't have a 30-minute conversation if people understand your business.
Right.
So they need to understand how to refer you and understand how to bring it up, which takes time. And they need to have trust. If you are seeing somebody at an optional social every 4 months and you're having a cocktail, you can go, well, that's a great person. They're so fun. But do you trust? Do you understand their business? That's why closed networking is by far the most effective.
Yeah, agreed. So I don't want to give away too much of the recipe and the sauce, but I do want to highlight one other thing that's unique about your business structure. So we talked about kind of those value points between the different network types out there, but even within the NIA family, you're doing things a little bit different, and you pioneered some things that are a little bit different than what other franchise owners had been doing in the past. And what I'm getting at are these I call them micro groups. So you have your core groups with those dedicated industry members. You
Mhm.
also intermingle those groups so they can get to know each other across groups and cross referrals. But you recently started these micro groups, groups of people in like industries who then get together and collaborate and support each other. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. As we have gotten a little bigger, we have a big enough community to form these little micro groups. I think that's what we should call them. And so I was kind of looking at my members. I'm like, I really want to coach people on how to refer out of their center of influence.
Yeah.
The power of having the people that are in front of your customers that you can partner with is unbelievable. And I know, Tanya, you can say without a doubt that a lot of your business has come from NIA, but not necessarily your closed group. So
Correct.
when people are always concerned about what group they want to be in, and I'm like, I understand that to a point, but I'm like, you're joining a community. My groups are all good. And sometimes it's best to have your best referral partner in another group.
Yeah.
At any rate, what I decided to do is form, for example, I have a group of people that have HR services. So they're either calling on HR or calling on owners that have HR needs. For example, HR attorneys in there. We have an HR leadership coach. We have an HR recruiter. We have relocation specialists. We have payroll. We have benefits. We have assessment testing,
Yeah.
staffing. So they meet once a month on an hour Zoom. We put one member on the hot seat, and then we just go around, make sure everybody gets a chance to talk, so everybody's learning, and then
Yeah.
we come up with an action. So you know what? You may not feel comfortable referring to somebody right now, but what is an action you're going to take? The action could be, Tanya, you and I need to continue our conversation. Let's have coffee. Or it could be, you know what? I don't have a referral for you, but you know what? I have somebody I could connect you with that I think is going to be really helpful that have ins to those industries or things like that. So another group is like in the financial services. They do bookkeepers are in there, CPAs are in there, bankers, payroll, tax, like fractional people are in there. And they get together because they're extremely busy every quarter and they have lunch. So we also have contractors in each group. Some are plumbers, some are exterior remodelers, some do flooring, some do kitchen, bath design, some do additions and roofing. Well, sometimes I've noticed that my members partner and they're like, I need to bring a partner in for this job, or they outsource, or they just refer. They're all calling on homeowners that need improvements. And it even could be my interior designer, or it could be, I have a member that does window treatments. It could be even that because they're calling on homeowners. If someone's spending a ton of money to renovate or do an addition, they're going to need those products. So because they're so busy, we just do a happy hour every quarter, and it's optional, of course, but people are like, boy, I can't always make them all, but this is a really important one because these are people that are calling on the same center of influence I call.
What kind of successes have you seen coming out of these micro groups? I particularly am not participant in one of those micro groups at this point,
Yeah.
but I've kind of seen some fluctuation between well, it's going to be six groups now, but with the five groups that I had witnessed, there's some really great collaboration going on. What are you seeing on the backside?
I'm seeing like my HR attorney who's been in the group 9-10 months and hasn't been in a lot of established networking groups. So he's learning more. And I guess I'm always saying, I keep hearing this, oh yeah, I'll keep my ears out for that. Stop keeping your ears out. Be direct, ask a direct question. So if it was like, hey, Tanya, if I wanted to refer you and I knew this is the kind of client you are targeting or that you love to work with, and yet I'm really uncertain on how to refer you, I will call and talk to that member and say, hey, I know you want to get in front of these kind of people. I do know someone like that. I'm just uncertain of how to bring you up. Can you coach me on that? And taking that time to even coach each other, like on how to bring you up in conversations, who to ask, what to listen for, what to say. And it's those type of things. At this point, we haven't been doing this really long. I know it's helping, but I even think the peer support What are you doing to pivot right now? Boy, it's hard to get in front of people. What are some of the things that you're doing that is getting you in front of? Because this is a safe place. These are not competitors of yours. And also my ultimate goal would maybe to see maybe some panel events where they invite each other's clients or prospects to do some panel events, or have a sheet that says, these are some of the partners that I know really well. And after meeting with someone, maybe they're hiring you to do law work, and you're like, I just wanted you to know, here are some of the partners I work with. They're coaches, they're consultants, they help with assessment, they help with retaining of employees, they can help you with CRMs, whatever it may be. Here are some of the, would you like any introductions? Do you have any needs like that? But a lot of it's that intentionality of asking, not listening, and then knowing what to say when you ask it.
Kim, you are revolutionary in your vision, and you are revolutionizing the networking infrastructure. And I'm just so glad to have been a part of that ride with you. If somebody wanted to learn more about your business, where can they find you?
Yeah, best is to email me at kimt@networkinaction.com. You can also call me at 612-314-9022. Email is best, especially if you want to talk to me, to get on my calendar, because I'm pretty busy on calls most of the day, which is a really great challenge and blessing. So I would love to talk to anyone that is just interested in learning more about my groups.
Thank you, Kim. Oh, thank you so much for taking this time. I know you're swamped. You're getting ready for a gala. You're getting ready for all of these networking events coming up. You're getting ready to travel. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Well, I think it's important to take your business seriously, but I think it's important to have fun while you do it. And that's really important to me, that I'm not a serious person, but I'm a serious business person.
Yeah,
but I like to have fun. And I'm so grateful and proud to have people like you, Tanya. You really are. You've been with me from the beginning. You make me look so dang good. When I look at my social media, I'm like, wow, I really need to meet this person. They sound to me, oh, that's me. Wow, you always do such a good job.
You're funny.
And I just know many of my members are extremely happy and love you so much. But I would say this too. I think a lot of the reason a lot of people do network, I just have to add this because I think it's important. I think a lot of people really need to network because I'm going to use bookkeepers, or they're not typically natural salespeople.
Yeah.
They become a bookkeeper because they love doing books.
Yeah.
And I think that networking is really helpful for them because that's not their natural focus. And so to be around people that love and support them and want to help them, it really can bring your business to a new level a lot quicker, as long as you have a serving mindset. So thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you, and I'm honored that you asked me to spend some time with you.